Hello, everybody. This is Frank with Iron Age News. It's Monday, May 5th. On May 1st, I guess, was it May 1st? The Senate got together and tried to override President Trump's tariffs, and it went to a 49-49 with the vice president having to make the tie-breaking vote. Reason being, there were two defectors from the quote-unquote Republican Party. One, that piece of garbage from Alaska, and the other, everybody's favorite libertarian, Rand Paul. Ugh, right? Again with Rand Paul. So we decided, well, we have to take a look at Rand a little bit more. I mean, I had a lot of respect for where his father was coming from, but I understood also that he was carving a unique niche for himself, much the same way Rand Paul has done. And guys like this that play this libertarian game at a time where every vote counts and say that they're doing it on principle are actually, in my opinion, principled cowards. This is not the time to allow socialism to run rampant because you, in the back of your mind, don't want to stand up for what's right. Now, you'll see that Rand Paul has said, oh, it's Constitution, it's Constitution. Bullshit. Canada was going to put, I believe, a 50% tariff against Kentucky bourbon. And also, guess who gives Rand Paul money? Guess who his constituency considers to be a major employer? The bourbon industry, the car parts industry, things of that nature that were affected directly by this tariff. But since Rand has so cleverly, sculpted this image that he's wrapped in the Constitution and he eats liberty for breakfast, nobody bothers to call him out on it. And you get sick of guys like this because when the chips are down, as they say, we'll use a lot of these terms. Chips are down. Rand is not going to be your boy. He is not going to suit up. He is not going to step to it. He is not going to help you press the ops. He's going to do none of these things. He could barely lay a glove on the most guilty man around, Tony Fauci, right? He didn't even really try. He just used to yell at him because he was a dentist. It's not the same thing. So what we did is we've taken a few different viewpoints that are assumed to be widely held. Excuse me, I'm coughing on all this shit. And looked at where we see Senator Paul, where we see Senator Paul in the future, and his relevancy to the President Trump's Maga movement. The relevancy in general, I'll skip all the other stuff for now. You see his relevancy now is that he cannot be counted on to vote the right way. And you'll say, oh, but the tariffs. This is a major pillar of restructuring the United States debt, repositioning the United States in the world market, reestablishing our need to manufacture things in the United States to break the chains of dealing with easy shit from China and places like that who wish to have our country destroyed. And guys like this are standing in the way worse than the Democrats. And I'll say that's my personal thing. The other people in the organization may not say it. Rand is worse than the Democrats because he knows better and because of this ivory tower nonsense that he's playing at. He votes in a non-confrontational way. Okay? So there you have that. So let's get back to what we're talking about here. And this is the, guy who's long held the libertarian banner in the Senate. And granted, he's done a couple of things that were, out there that were good, anti-war, this and that and the other thing. But we like I said, if you're going to look at this, you want to say to yourself, what is driving a guy? We've said in other videos, there's a couple of things. You got your money, you got your motive, you got your method, this, that, and the other thing. Where are we going with this? Well, now, if you look at Rand Paul, he's what the psychologists would call a classic dissenter. He is not ruled by, and I'm going to speak like this so you get what I'm saying. He is not ruled by party pressure or populist demands. He has an inner framework of libertarian ideals. regardless of if they are true or not. They are an interior framework inside of him. He feels that this is a libertarian ideal. He goes with it. He votes against the tariffs. He blocks spending bills. He confronts Dr. Fauci, right? But he doesn't do it for political gain. He does it because it aligns with his quixotic freaking trip through the Capitol. But the psychological trap that he has, which he, I'm sure, knows by now or should know, while he thinks this consistency makes him admirable, like, oh, that guy's got all this, it makes him not effective. He can't build coalitions, or he doesn't build coalitions. He doesn't broker deals, and he doesn't win. Look at any or all of the bills that he has authored and where they go. He does bills to do bills. He's not doing them because they will survive. He's not doing them because they need to be done. He does them because he feels that that's the thing to do. And he can go back to his constituents and say, look, I tried to do this and it didn't work out. So he survives it. He's like they say, the monk on a mountaintop, right? He's teaching the truth, but he never comes down to govern the village. Now, also at the same time, if you're looking at it more of a political bend, all right, picture what's out there in this world right now. Donald Trump is the populist warlord. Okay. Rand Paul is this philosopher prince. He's brilliant, supposedly incorruptible, and completely isolated. All right. There's your two different people. At no time are they going to really come together, because what you'll see is with power, they used to say, or Machiavelli would say, or somebody like that, I would say Machiavelli would say, it's not about being right, it's about being feared, obeyed, and effective. Okay? Rand Paul has none of those things in Washington. Now, he may talk a good game, but he has no apparatus, he has no political army, he has no favor bank, which is what we're going back to. He should be going with the team on some of these things, but he refuses to because he's an army of one. So he has armored himself, we're going to use that term again, with principles so tightly, he can't play the political game. He cannot make a deal. And thus, he can never win in a political war. He can survive. He can be untouched while the rest of the place is burning down, but he will never rule as a president or as a leader in the Senate. Look at the different things and you will see that to be the case, okay? And, but also on that same case, he excels at defense. He's known for the filibuster. He delays, he objects, he protects the ideological high ground, okay? If he were to be considered a sub component of one of these groups, he'd be tolerated. You wouldn't really put him in even a position of intermediate management, because you have to worry about him going off script. The Trump movement does not fear Rand Paul, which is what some people thinks, but it doesn't follow him either. Okay? Because they know he can never take the top spot. He lacks the charisma, he lacks the loyalty and the appetite for mass persuasion. He's not leading the army. He's sitting in a tower. He's warning of danger, but I can barely hear him because he's up so high. Okay? Everybody else is out drawing maps and moving pieces. He's up there doing whatever he's doing. So where does that leave Rand Paul? Okay? He's not a Trump person. He is not MAGA. He is not a socialist. He's not even a conventional Republican. He's just kind of there. He's kind of a there person. He can do nothing to really help the country. And, I'm assuming that he protects the people of Kentucky well enough. But other than that, he's an ideological ghost. Okay? You can't corrupt him. You can't control him. But, he also can't come out and do anything to you. So right now, when you're thinking it's an ideological war out there, which I do and a lot of other people do, that we are at war for the soul of the United States. It's the people that are associated with Trump and others, MAGA, things like that, versus socialism. Rand Paul, is on the edge of the battlefield. He is not going to come in on either side. And when he does stuff like he did, where he joins with the socialists against the United States, as he did on the other day, and he's done at least two other times that I can think of during this administration, he could really find himself on the total outside looking in. And if that's what he wants, that's fine. But don't ever be afraid that this guy is going to somehow do, some grave damage to anything, or that he's ever going to bring Dr. Fauci to justice or things of that nature, because it's not in him to do it. He does not have the drive. All right. They don't have to get to him because he's already gotten to himself, as we would say. I don't know if you guys use that term, get to him, but that's pretty much going to be the story with that. So, missed opportunity, could have been a real somebody, could have probably ended up running RFK's department, or at least running an investigative, a major investigative committee out of that against the COVID, had a real COVID investigation with teeth instead of that shit that they were doing during Biden. All those little hearings that were done during Biden meant nothing because everybody, Josh Hawley, Fauci, all of them knew that they did not have any type of law enforcement apparatus, the Justice Department or the FBI, that would convict anybody or even go to the fact of an investigation because they were involved in this coup. So it was all just smoke and mirrors. They could have done any number of other things. But the fact of the matter is they did not generate enough hard evidence during these hearings to go forward and indict anybody, even the ones that were not covered by this blanket immunity shit that the President Biden had done. So that's about all for him. I think that that's the case with some of these guys. You have to really look at what the motivation is. And this type, I loathe Jamie Raskin and Moskovitz and all these other guys, but they're doing it for a reason. They're the shitbags for a reason. They want their garbage philosophy to win. Here, it's just, I'm in this position and I'm going to entomb myself in this cocoon of bullshittery and hide behind the Constitution for no apparent reason. So on that note, have a great day. I don't know how Formula One went, and I'm not quite sure how the air show went either, but that is how it is. Talk to you later.